Hi, we're here with Michael Worry, CEO of Nuvation Energy. Michael, tell us about Nuvation Energy and what we're looking at here.
Sure. Yeah. So Nuvation is an energy storage company. We've been in business since 1997. The roots of the company are actually in engineering services. Today, we focus on selling products and services to companies that design and deliver energy storage systems. And today, we're showing our Gen 5 battery management system. So here we're showing our 5th generation battery management system. So this BMS goes to 1500 volts. It scales to very large scale systems, so sites that are hundreds of megawatt hours and gigawatt hours. Later on, I'll give you more detail about the individual modules and the customers we sell to.
Very interesting. So, Michael, many battery manufacturers offer a BMS with their battery systems. Why would somebody want to buy a third-party BMS like Nuvation's?
Sure. So one of the key reasons that customers buy BMS from us is it's a highly configurable battery management system. And so our BMS has thousands of configurable registers in it, so it can work across a wide variety of different chemistries and a wide variety of different applications. So a lot of BMSs that are out there are hard-coded to a specific application, whereas for us, to go between different chemistries and different battery topologies, it's simply a software configuration file in order to change them. Our customers also tell us they like the very high transparency and visibility into what's going on inside the energy storage system, because we go down to individual per cell information. And so we give like per cell state of health, per cell energy, and we really give very good transparency as to what's going on inside the battery.
Got it. So how does the battery warranty work when using a third-party BMS instead of the battery manufacturer BMS?
Yeah, great question. We've really followed the lead of what goes on in the electric vehicle industry, where very commonly the battery management system is separate from the battery, so that you get the specialization of expertise of each of those. We've worked with dozens of battery manufacturers in order to ensure the information that we're capturing by our battery management system fulfills all their warranty requirements. In fact, what tends to happen is we're told by our customers that our BMS provides even better data and even better transparency than other BMSs that are out there.
Got it. So, Michael, walk us through this Gen 5 BMS demo you got here. How does it all work?
Sure. So here we're showing the first 2 levels of a 3-level battery management system. So the first level is our cell interface. That sits closest to the battery cells. So it's the first line of defense in measuring individual cell voltages and temperatures and implementing balancing. That rolls up in a daisy chain to our stack level battery management system, which is our Gen 5 stack switchgear. That's the level at which UL 1973 functional safety resides. We're actually the world's first configurable battery management system to achieve UL 1973 functional safety. And then within that, we have all the power components. So you have contactors, fuses, and current shunt, such that if detects a situation that's outside operating parameters, the stack switchgear can open a contactor and keep the battery safe.
So why is it called Gen 5 anyway?
So it's a great question. It's really a reflection of we've been doing this for a really long time. So we started doing battery management systems back in 2008, before energy storage was really a major thing. And so we started with our first generation battery management system, and we've gone through multiple iterations and multiple levels of learning. And we're now pleased to be releasing our Gen 5 battery management system that goes up to 1500 volts.
When most people think of a BMS, they think of a device that monitors battery voltage, temperature, and current, and makes sure those 3 things don't exceed the battery manufacturer specifications. Tell us how Nuvation Energy's Gen 5 BMS is more than that.
Yeah, that's actually a common perception, that when people think of battery management system, they think of really the protection level battery management system, and BMS is so much more than that. So the BMS is really the tip of the spear, the first line of defense, and ensuring the battery's kept safe. But then we provide all of the information that's required to the higher level systems. So the energy management system, the power conversion system, they can make better decisions of how to use energy with all the data that comes from the battery management system. So calling a BMS just something that opens contactors would be like relating to a human as something that just breathes and eats. Being a human is so much more. The way that we communicate and the level of intelligence that we exhibit and the algorithms that we have. And the same is true for the Nuvation battery management system.
Very impressive. So how does a user see all that information and know if what's going on in the battery or something's wrong?
Sure. Let's check out the operator interface. So what we're showing here is a battery management system operator interface. So this is how an operator would interact with the battery management system. So here we're showing our multi-stack view. And so to walk you through a few of the gauges, this being a multi-stack system, we're showing our pack level voltage, but right adjacent to that, we're showing our stack voltages of each individual stack, the min, max, and average. We're showing the pack level current, but then we're also showing the individual stack currents, min, max, and average. We also dive down on this screen and show you kind of a summary of your individual cell voltages and temperatures. Same thing, you get a quick visual glance. If you're inside of this blue region, then you're within the operating region of the BMS, within the battery. If you get into yellow, that's a warning. If you get into red, then it's a fault. we can see at a very quick glance that this system is good shape because we've got a BMS status of all okay and 4 to 4 stacks connected.
Can you make changes to accommodate special energy storage system requirements?
We definitely can. So that's one of the advantages of Nuvation BMS. It's a highly configurable battery management system. So let's dive down into the system a little bit. So if we click over here to stack status, we can now see all our individual stacks. We can see at a glance that each stack is okay. And we can see the state of charge, stack voltage, and stack current. And then if we want to dive in even further, we can click Go to Stack, and that will open up a stack level view. So now this is the same operator interface, but it's no longer multi-stack. It's now for an individual stack. So we're looking at the voltage, current, cell voltages, and temperatures for that individual stack. So here we're showing all the registers that are available inside of the battery management system. We've got thousands of individual configurable registers. So I can go in here and I can scroll, and this is a huge long list. There's thousands inside of here. And let's say I wanted to change how my state of charge is calculated. So I can actually open that up. And behind these individual groupings, many of these have dozens of individual configurable registers. So for example, here I can change if I want my open circuit voltage to be enabled or not. So this is in an application where you're not hitting V full or V empty inside of the system. So say you're doing frequency regulation or PV smoothing, something like that. Then you would actually want to enable that open circuit voltage and have adaptive state of charge information on top of your coolant counting. As another example, let's say we wanted to real-time change our V empty or V full registers. So if I go here to V full, I can actually edit this real time. I can read what's inside of that, 3.56 volts. So that means that if any cell hits 3.56 volts, I'm going to call the stack full and I need to stop charging. I could actually real time edit that if I wanted to refine that inside of the system. So that's an example of how the BMS system from Nuvation is so highly configurable.
That's really impressive, Michael. So how does one provide so much flexibility without compromising battery safety?
Yeah, great question. So the way we do it in the Nuvation BMS is we actually have 2 sets of registers. So one set of registers are actually locked down inside of the UL 1973 functional safety process. Actually has a CRC check on it. And these are the ones that keep the battery fully functional safe. Inside of that, we have another set of registers, which are your operating parameters. And so that you can actually tighten your operating further because you don't actually want to run your battery to the functional safe rails. If you want to have a good battery life, you'll generally have operating parameters that are a subset of the voltage, current, and temperature that is actually the functionally safe limits of the batteries. So that's how we can offer such enormous amounts of flexibility while ensuring the battery is kept safe.
Got it. Thanks, Michael. This has been really informative. One other thing I wanted to ask you about, I understand that this Gen 5 battery management system uses something called continuous balancing.
Oh, yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Yeah. Super excited about continuous balancing. This is a real innovation that Nuvation added to our 5th generation BMS. And what we noticed in operating systems was that if you only use voltage-based passive balancing, you can only do that balancing when you hold the system at a high state of charge. So instead, we invented a new system called continuous balancing. And what that is an algorithm that when you get up to that hot point, it takes a snapshot of the system, and the system estimates how much charge needs to be balanced inside of the system. You then no longer have to hold the system at a high state of charge. You can return to whatever that energy application is, and the system will continue to balance those cells continuously. So that's the advantage of Nuvation's continuous balancing is you don't have to hold the system at the high state of charge. You can run continuously your energy application.
Thanks very much for your time today, Michael. It's been really informative, and looking forward to great success for Nuvation Energy and your new battery management system.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks, Joseph.
Take care.
Exciting to continue to launch new battery management systems to the market.